And then on Tuesday or Wednesday, I'm sorry, yesterday, we used factoring skill to solve for X and Y intercept. You guys remember that? So you factor it and then you solve for X and Y intercept. Okay, so that's what we did yesterday. Now today, so here it is. Let me begin with the question. Right? So up on that whiteboard right there on the top. Can we factor all the quadratic functions? Is it possible to factor everything? The answer is unfortunately no. All the trinomial, the quadratic expression, this you've got y equals ax squared plus bx plus c, right? This is the form for quadratic formula, quadratic equation function. Everything is not, you are not able to factor all the quadratic function. Okay. So what do you do, right? Because in other words, all the other, this, let's say x-intercept, they're not always going to be nice number like it's 4 and -1, right? That would be nice, right? But sometimes they are irrational. They are not nice number. They are going to be decimals. In other words, you won't be able to factor it completely, right? So what do? If you cannot factor it, then is there no other way to find an x-intercept? I mean, that x coordinate, this x-intercept could be 5 square root of 7 or something like that. It could be irrational. So how do you find it? Well, there is another way, and the way is, it's called a quadratic formula. Does anybody remember this from Algebra 1? You must have done this, but we're going to do this again. Yeah? Haiti, you've seen it before. Yeah? Have you guys seen that? Negative b square, a plus minus square root of b squared minus 4ac. When I was in high school, that was a song to remember. I'm not gonna sing, so please don't worry. On a Backstreet Boys tune. Do you guys know Backstreet Boys? Anyway, again, I'm not gonna sing it, so please don't worry. But so some of you may have, your teachers might have asked you guys to memorize it. I'm not going to ask you to memorize it, especially since all the tests and quizzes are open notes. It's not necessary. Let me make a couple of people here. All right. Now, this quadratic formula. All right. Does anybody want to sing a song, quadratic formula song, for all of us? Now, quadratic formula can be applied for any quadratic function, even if you can factor it. Let's say you have a difficulty of factoring, you can still use a quadratic formula. It applies for any quadratic function. Okay, so if it is in this form, there is another form that we will be talking about later on, but most of the time you will see quadratic function in this general form. It's called general form, and in a form of y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. If it's in that form, you can apply quadratic formula, whether it's you can factor it or you cannot factor it. Okay. So, but how do we use it? Okay. First of all, there is a some requirement here. If you want to use a quadratic formula of quadratic function, then it needs to be, first of all, again, in this form, ax squared plus bx plus c. Okay, and then you can solve for x immediately, right away, and that is going to be the x-intercept. So yeah, I would like you to write this down in your notes, quadratic formula, okay, especially this part. Okay. Quadratic formula is a way to find x-intercept, okay? Because basically you're solving for x when y is 0. You see that? When y is 0 and you're solving for x, and that's definition of x-intercept, isn't it? Okay. So let's go through a couple of examples. You guys okay? Does anybody need more time to copy down the quadratic formula? Okay. Just give you a minute or so and we'll get started on example number 1. So here's the example number 1. The first step is let's identify what A, B, and C. Now remember, oftentimes when I ask you students, what's A, what's B, and what's C in this equation, sometimes I get like, well, A, remember, A, B, and C are, what do you call it? Coefficient. That's the word. Coefficient is a number in front of the variables. So A in this case is a 2. B is this 4, or I should say positive 4. Okay. And then C, in this case, is negative 5. And all you need to do is you plug in. Okay? So let's find x-intercept. And how do you find x-intercept? Well, let's just apply the quadratic formula, okay? The first entry calls for negative b. Now, when I say negative b, it doesn't mean that it's gonna be always negative. It means, let's write it down in your note. It means negative means opposite sign. Opposite sign of B. Does that make sense? That's what negative means, okay? It's not always going to be negative. So B, since B is a positive 4, what's the opposite of positive 4? Well, it's going to be negative 4. If B is a negative 4, then it will be positive 4. Does that make sense? So it will be negative 4 and plus minus. I will explain what that means, but let's just put it down. A negative 4 plus minus square root b squared. That's a 4 squared minus, it's always minus 4 a c Since the c is -5, I'm going to put it in parentheses because they are all multiplied together. 4ac means 4 times a times c. You multiply over 2 times a, 2 times 2. Okay. And I know it's easy for me to say this, but all you have to do is just to simplify that. Okay. And also, let me tell you guys this, that 90% of the problem, the mistake, occurs inside of the square root. That's where the problem is. Okay, so let's try to do this carefully. What? Parker, what do you mean by that? Why? What do you mean why? So why? No. Oh, y-intercept. No, y-intercept is going to be easy. So in this case, you guys know this already. We'll get to this, but y-intercept is going to be just -5. You see that? Because you put 0 in x, and all you get is -5. Yeah. Parker, were you here yesterday? Yeah. So y-intercept is going to be -5. But we'll get to that. So let's simplify this, okay? So take out your calculator. -4. Everybody okay? -4 squared, that's 12. Now, this is where the mistake occurs. Now, this negative sign throws many students away, gave lots of problems, okay? Now, my suggestion is, well, this is what I want you to do, actually. It'll be a little more forceful because I think it will eliminate lots of mistake. And that is, I want you to treat this 4 as a -4. And I want you to do -4 times 2 times -5. Do that. -4 times 2 is -8. And -8 times -5 is what? That's a positive 40. So write down plus 40. You get that? In other words, you will just have a 12 plus 40. So you will have a square root of 52 over 4. Okay. You guys with me so far? Now, this is what I want you to do after this. Now, there will be 2 x-intercepts, right? Because a parabola can have 2 x-intercept. And that's why there is the plus and minus sign there. So one first, so we're going to split. First x-intercept will take the positive sign, and the second x-intercept will take negative sign. So the first one will be -4 plus square root of 52 divided by 4. That will be the first x-intercept. And the second one is -4 minus square root of 52 divided by 4. Now, how do we do? And let's figure out with a calculator. Okay, so everybody take out your calculator. So -4 plus square root of 52. Now, when you do this, well, what do you guys get? What first x-intercept? I've got 0.8. Let's just round it off. So I got 0.8 as first x-intercept. Second x-intercept, negative 4 minus square root of 52. Now, this is what I would do. I make sure that you mentally, I will put parentheses around numerator. In other words, I do negative 4 minus square root of 52 and then press enter, okay? And then divide by 4. The other 20% of the mistake occurs because of the calculator maneuver, right? You see right here, can you guys all see this? I did negative 4 minus square root of 52, and then I pressed enter, and I got negative 11.2. And then I divided by 4. Then I got negative 2.8. But if I do negative 4 minus square root of 52 and then divide by 4, if you try to do everything in one shot, if negative 4 minus square root of 52 divide by 4, did anybody try that? And I get negative 5.8. That is a wrong answer. Did anybody get negative 5.8? So you don't want to do that, okay? You first have to evaluate all the numerator, negative 4 plus or minus square root of 52, press enter, and then divide by 4. Then you will get the right answer. Now, what is y-intercept? With a Parker, right? Parker asked the question. Y-intercept is still the same way as yesterday. You plug in. How do you find a y-intercept? You set x to 0. Remember that, guys? So let's plug in 0. Plug 0 into x. And what do you get? Y equals 2 times 0 squared plus 4 times 0 minus 5. That's 0. That's 0. So you're going to have a y equals negative 5. Okay. So that's y-intercept. And these are x-intercept. That's right. If you want to do that all in one shot, make sure you put parentheses, and then you will get the right answer. Thank you, Haley. All right, let's try now example number 2. Can we try that? And I think that's it. And then we'll do the assignment, okay? I think we should be able to finish the class early today. So why don't you try that, okay? All by yourself. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry if I didn't give you guys enough time to write it down on example number 1. Is everybody okay? Ready for the example 2? Now for example number 2, let's actually identify what A, B, and C is, just to make sure that you are on the same page. What is A? What would you say? What is A for example 2? Oftentimes I get like a answer like X or 1X. When we talk about A, B, and C, there is no variables. It's all number. Those are called coefficients. It's the number in front of variable. So what is the number in front of x squared? Well, when you don't see it, it's 1, isn't it? Thank you, Parker. So it's 1. So A is 1. And what's B? B is, don't say negative 4x. Okay, again, A, B, C are just a number. So B is negative 4 in this case, in this time. And then C is positive 13. Okay, let's work on that. Find the x-intercept. Is anybody working on example 2? Anybody having difficulty? I'm gonna get started too. X equals, it's negative b, right? In other words, it's the opposite of a b. Now, since b is a negative 4, so opposite of b will be positive 4. So it's going to be positive 4 plus minus square root negative 4 squared minus 4ac. Oh, okay, yeah. So this is going to be actually a little trick question here. And then 2 times a. Now, what did you get inside of a square root sign? Yeah, this 4 positive. This has to be positive 4 because quadratic formula calls for, right here, Parker, it is calling for negative b, right? In other words, when I say negative b, it means opposite of b. Now, since b is in this one is negative 4, so it will be positive 4. Does that make sense? Yeah, okay. All right. So, Gentry, you're noticing something important. Very good. Now, let's keep going on this. Now, first of all, negative 4, that's in parentheses, it's negative 4 squared. That means negative 4 times negative 4. What happens if you square a negative number? It becomes positive number, right? So this is a positive 16. And then negative 4 times 1. Again, this is what I asked you guys to do, right? Negative 4 times 1 times 13. What do you get? You will get negative, what is it? 52. Now, what is a 16 minus 52? Isn't that negative? What is it? 32, 36? Negative 36 over 2. Now, we are going to stop right here. Why are we going to stop right here? We have to say at this point, there is no x-intercept. Why not? Why can't we keep going? Anybody? Why do we have to stop? Why do we have to just say there is no x-intercept? It is because of the square root of negative number right here. Do you guys remember? I don't know if you guys dealt with a imaginary number in Algebra 1. Did anybody do that? In other words, you might have heard your teacher say this. You cannot take square root of a negative number. And I will just leave it right here, right there, because I don't want to get into the square root of negative number. We will do that actually later in the year, towards about around May, June. We will talk about imaginary number, where you are able to take a square root of a negative number. But at this point, I mean, take a look at it. Everybody take out your calculator. I want you to do square root of negative 36. Does everybody see this on the screen? What does it say? It says, I get error message, right? It says non-real. You will not be able to take a square root of a negative number, okay? And so that means if you get square root of a negative number, then you will have to say no x-intercept. X-intercept doesn't exist. Is that possible though, by the way? Is it possible to have quadratic function having no x-intercept? How can that be possible? Well, some quadratic function, you could have something like that, right? It's above x-axis, exactly correct, Francisco. Yeah. So some of the quadratic function will never dip deep enough to hit x-axis. So there is no x-intercept. So anytime if you get square root of a negative number, then you know that there is no x-intercept. Now let me show you another things. Let me graph it, okay? So let's write it down. X squared minus 4x plus 13. You see this? There's that equation, and I'm gonna graph it, okay? Let me show you what happens. So I press graph. Okay. Let me change the window. Right there. So the function never dip deep enough to hit the x-axis. So there's no x-intercept. Okay. But it does have a y-intercept though. Where is the y-intercept going to be, guys? Everybody tell me, what is the y-intercept? You don't have to do anything. Y-intercept is going to be 13. Yes. Yeah. Thank you, guys. Thank you. So y-intercept is going to be, it's the number right there, right? Because you set x to 0. So y-intercept is going to be 13. All right, so that's it. That's all I have as an example that I wanted to go over. Now let's do the assignment, okay? Does anybody need more time to write this down? So maybe let's write it down in your own words. Why are there no x-intercept? Why? So let's write down when square root negative number, it means no x-intercept. And then let's graph this, right? This is, so here's the graph. Y-intercept is 13. Whoa, what happened there? Y-intercept is a 13, but it never dips enough to hit the x-axis. Okay. Is everybody okay? Yeah, absolutely. Anybody else that you're able to see? Is everybody ready to work on the assignment? You all good, Francisco? You guys all good? So I've got only 4 problems, okay? And then, so here it is. Here's the first 2 questions. I want you to find x-intercept by using quadratic formula, okay? And let's find all the way till to find the decimal. So you have to round up to round off to answer x-intercept. Okay. I'm not gonna test you guys on your rounding skill, so don't worry too much about that. Just round off to the like a 10th or 100th place. Okay. So let's begin. Okay. Somebody just came in. Okay. So, well, should we try this one more time? Okay. Let's do this one. What is A, B, and C? Okay. So you gotta identify that first. A is going to be that one right here, right? That's A. B is also 1, isn't it? Okay. A is 1, B is 1, and then C is -5. Is everybody okay on that? Oh, glad you made it, Jerry. Okay. Now let's put it into the quadratic equation. It's opposite. Again, remember, this means opposite, okay? Opposite of B, okay? That's what that means, negative B means, okay? Since it's a 1, it's going to be -1 plus minus square root of 1 squared minus 4 AC over 2 times 1. Is it very good so far? So what do we get for the inside? You get 1 squared is 1. And again, I want you to do negative 4 times 1 times negative 5. What is that? Negative 4 times 1 is negative 4. Negative 4 times negative 5. That's a positive 20. So that's the square root of 21. Over 2. And the first x-intercept is going to be negative 1 plus square root of 21 over 2. The other x-intercept is going to be negative 1 minus square root of 21 over 2. And let's take our calculator to do that, find that. Negative 1 plus square root of 21, enter, divide by 2. I get 1.79 or 1.8, whatever, 1.8 is fine. Negative 1 minus square root of 21, enter, then divide by 2. The other solution is negative 2.79. And the y-intercept is going to be negative 5. How did it go? Okay, let's do number 2, all by yourself. Okay, this time. I'll give you 2 minutes. Actually, I will time that because I'll be right back. How are you guys doing on number 2? If you're done with the number 2, here's number 3 as well. Charge my phone. All right, how did it go? What did you get for x-intercept? Would anybody be willing to share, or maybe share with a direct message to me? What did you get for x-intercept? Anybody? Is this no x-intercept one or what? 11 squared minus 4ac. Okay, still working on it. I'm gonna get started too. X equals negative b, so that would be positive 12. Yeah, did you get that first? It's positive 12 plus minus square root of negative 12 parentheses squared, okay? Quantity squared, negative 12 squared minus 4ac. No, so A in this case is 11, right? And B is negative 12, right? And then the C is negative 10. Is everybody clear on that? Again, A, B, C are all the coefficients, all just a number, okay? Over 2 times 11. So now what do we get? Negative 12 squared is positive 144. Yeah? And then you're going to do negative 4 times 11 times negative 10. That will be positive value. 44. 4. That's a 440. So it will be 144 plus 440, which will be 500, what is it, 84. So you should get square root of 584 over 22. How did you guys do? Did you guys get that? And so the answer will be 12 plus square root of 584 divided by 22. So it's going to be 1.6. The other one will be 12 minus square root of 584 divided by 22. Negative 0.55. And then the y-intercept is going to be negative 2. How did you do? Now, if you didn't get that number, not a big deal, but you really need to identify the spot, okay? What was the mistake? You really need to think about that. Otherwise, you're wasting a great opportunity to learn something, right? Yeah, rounding off to the 10th spot, that's perfect. If you answered as 1.6, negative 0.6, that's great. Anybody else? Did you guys get that? Okay. Very good. Let's try number 3. Here's number 4 as well. Okay, 2 minutes. There were some big numbers on number 2. So it has gotten a pretty big number, or maybe that kind of caught you off guard. Number 3 is a relatively small number. You can get that correctly. 7. Hey, Joseph, how are you doing? Good to see you in class. We are working on assignment right now. We are almost done, but I will be posting this video later today, so please watch the video. Right now, everybody's working on number 3 using quadratic formula. All right, it's almost 2 minutes. If you're still working, please continue to work on that. So I'm going to get started on this. So first, let's identify A, B, and C. Okay. So A is going to be, A will be 4, this 4, right? And B is this positive 3, and C is negative 2. Okay. So first entry calls for opposite of B. Now what's a B? B is positive 3, so it's going to be negative 3 plus minus 3 squared minus 4. It's always minus 4. Minus 4 times A times C over 2 times 4. Okay. So all I've done is to that. I plugged in all A, B, and C. So let's take care of the inside of the square root sign. So you're going to get 3 squared is 9. And then negative 4 times 4 times negative 2. What is that? That's positive 32. Is everybody okay on that? Negative 4 times 4, that's negative 16. But negative 16 times negative 2, that's positive 32. So you write down plus 32, okay? That would eliminate lots and lots of mistakes. It's because of this negative, this is stinking negative right here. That's why some of you or lots of us students that I've seen before have had trouble. Okay, it's because of that negative sign right here. Okay, what do? Some students are using that negative sign twice. You don't want to do that. Okay, you just count as negative 4 times negative 2. Okay, and put down the number. So you've got negative 3 plus minus square root of, what is it, 41 over 8. Okay, that's it. So the first answer will be negative 3 plus square root of 41. Press enter, divide by 8. So first answer will be 0.43. Okay, and the other one will be negative 1.18. Okay, and then the y-intercept is going to be negative 2. How did it go? questions, guys? Okay. You doing okay, guys? Does anybody have any trouble? Okay, last question, number 4. Okay, 2 minutes. Maybe I should include one with a square root of negative number, but this one also has x-intercepts. All right, so I'm gonna get started on this. So first, A is going to be 1, B is negative 16, and C is positive 4. Okay, so first entry calls for opposite of a B. And since B is a negative 16, so I'll put positive 16. Okay, so positive 16 plus minus negative 16 squared minus 4AC over 2 times 1. Negative 16 square, I don't remember 16 square, 256. So it's positive 256. Again, when you do the square, make sure that, especially the negative number, make sure you put it in parentheses. You put negative 16 and then you do the square, okay? Is everybody okay on how to do the square? If you have a calculator like mine, you can do 2 different ways. You can use this square button, or you can do negative 16 to the second power. Okay, that's right here. That's exponent button. Some of your calculator has exponent button as like a y to the x power. That's also an exponent button. It's a little different from a calculator to calculator, but lots of calculator use that button. So you should get positive 256, and then negative 4 times 1 times 4, that's a negative 16. So you go 256 minus 16. That's 240. So you should get 16 plus minus square root of 240 over 2. Did you get that? Square root of 240? If you did, that's again, if you've gotten 240, then you're 90% of the battle is done, fought. Okay. And all you have to do is just use the calculator. 16 plus square root of 240, and then divide by 2. So it will be 15.7. The other one will be 16 minus square root of 240. Okay, and then divide by 2. 0.25. Y-intercept is 4. All right, how did it go, guys? The last question. Did you guys get that? All right. Well, this is it. This is the end of today's lesson. You guys, thank you guys for paying attention. Um, hey, I see Joseph. I was wondering if I can just talk to you, chat with you. Anybody who maybe extra time, extra help, please stay around and then you can talk to me. Otherwise, have a great day and I will see you guys tomorrow. Take care, guys. All right. Thank you, guys. Hey, Joseph, are you still here? Hey, Joseph, how are you doing? I'm glad you came to the class. Yeah, you had problem with your computer then? Okay, so you, let's see, how are you doing in this class?